No.
All right, bro. We are live, amigos, but we can just slowly warm into this. We don't have to sound too professional. Luckily, this stream with you, man, is a bit more raw than the other ones I do because I know you pretty well, and I know
I
we can
like
just
it.
fuck around.
I
So, but
prefer.
for the people, let's see. We'll let a few people. We'll let the fans come pouring in first, and then.
Whoops. I tweeted that we were live earlier because I thought we were live.
Yeah. I saw you. I saw you done that. I was like, no, all good.
Come on, bro.
We'll let them slowly come in. This is a random time for me. Although in the US, probably not the worst time. What's it? 11 p.m. Eastern Standard? Is it
No, 9.
9? Oh, 9. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, it's perfect time, bro. It's like I guess peak hours, I would say.
Yeah, same. This is like DGen. This is where Nifty Wap does his best work around this time of day, man.
Well, he's in Western time, so
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, like, dude, because I always wanted to go to all the whatchamacallit, all the like Twitter spaces that y'all would do, but like it was always at like freaking 3 in the morning, bro. And I'm like, dude, and they start at 3 in the morning. I'm like, dude, I can't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Although
And I
what
was
was it for
working.
me? It must have been my afternoon. It was good for me. Actually, it was always the afternoon for me, but I always was thinking, what the fuck are you guys doing right now? Awake.
Bro, 3 a.m. like
What the
crazy.
hell?
How many people like where do you stream at, correct? Like I know I click it here, but do you go to YouTube and Twitter or
Yeah, so this is going out. This is going out to Twitter, YouTube, Abstract, and strangely enough, Twitch, which I've only just started adding. But Twitch is, I've never got more than 2 viewers there, man. But I haven't really tried at all. But obviously,
Twitch is a good one?
crypto's not. I've just not. Yeah, I've got no flow there, no movement at all.
Not yet, but you also stream on so many platforms that it's gonna like draw from it, you know what I mean? But I
Yeah,
bet you if you only streamed on Twitch, people would congregate there,
I
but
think so. Yeah,
but it'll pick up, I'm sure. I mean, and there's not a lot of crypto streamers on Twitch, I don't think. I remember Kobe used to do
oh yeah.
streams. I know what's his name? Cold-blooded something, cold-blooded, whatever. He does charting and stuff and
Does Kobe stream much anymore? No, I didn't think so.
not at all.
Yeah. I guess that's what happened. I mean, I don't blame him. You asked me in another couple of cycles, and I'll probably be fucking gone, man. Like, or just a mercenary, Just come on the timeline, destroy people, leave. Like, I guess by that, I mean, although you're still here, man, you're still here talking,
Oh yeah.
and you've been
I
here
mean, I don't
long.
stream or nothing like that though. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I tried doing like consistent Twitter spaces and things like that, and it did just drain me. Like I don't know why. It just like I didn't. It just drained me, man. Like I don't.
It
I don't
can,
know how to explain it. Like I commend you, bro, because you're insane, bro. You do like 2 a day, sometimes 3 a day.
yeah.
I mean, you're a
It's
psycho.
yeah. It can be draining. It depends. Like, lucky it's you at this time. It would be a lot harder if it was quite a structured chat. So we say with a stranger, and I had to like have my best foot forward a bit more. So that would be a bit harder, especially because I just had one before. Then you two in a row gets a bit tricky. 3 gets real hard, and performance just drops, man. Just how quickly your brain can think on the spot. Like shout out to Joe Rogan, man. Like I don't know how, like that guy.
He's insane, bro. I mean,
Like,
all of his things are like 4 hours long
yeah,
too.
dude, that's what I mean. Like some of them, like 3 hour deep chats about baby universe,
Like,
like about stuff like you're just like, what the fuck is he talking about?
yeah, exactly.
Like heavy chats, right?
Hmm.
And he's on, like he's very good at what he does. So yeah, shout out to streamers because it's not easy. I mean, it's not hard though. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, Bizzy. I could be in the 40-degree heat digging holes outside in construction, earning $25 an hour. So when I say streaming's hard, it's I've done worse things for
Relative.
less money, man.
Well, I think it's
No,
hard in
this
its
is
own
free.
way. I think
Sorry.
it's hard in its own way, bro. Because I will say, I used to stream on Twitch video games and stuff like that, and I would stream like 12 hours a day, bro. And like, don't be like it. it got draining, bro, and it did become like very job like, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
It really like, I mean, it just drains your brain to the point where like I couldn't even really have a conversation after, you know.
Yeah, my wife tries to
Um,
talk to me at night sometimes. I'm like, man, like
yeah,
just can't really form great sentences. Like, I'm like, I can't problem solve for you at all right now. Like, can't even
yeah,
speak,
exactly.
can't even speak English. All right. So for the people that are just kind of pulling up now, we've got Bizzy on the stream again. He joined us I think it was last week, just chatting the markets. Bizzy's been in crypto for an eternity, so he's an old man here compared to me. It's only my second cycle. Bizzy, what's it? You've been here since the start, haven't you?
2011.
So
Well, I will say 2011, but that's when I bought my first coins. But I wasn't really like a part of the space, I would say, and I
yeah,
didn't really understand what was going on. So like when I really got in was probably like 2016.
yeah. That's
Um,
still mad early compared to. I mean, I'm going to guess that's older than just about everyone listening right now. So that's why one of the reasons I wanted to get you on, and for the people that are listening, just to get someone that's been around, a long time on the stream, because it's one thing like to be say me, and I'm doing my second cycle, and I'm like, yeah, okay, guys, so from the last cycle to this cycle, this is what I've learned. But someone who's done 3-4 cycles, obviously there's just a wealth of knowledge that I can't have. That's just wisdom. So wanted to get you on there for that, and then also you kind of go about your business a little bit differently to other people. So for people that don't know, Bizzy, like I said, been around, but big in meme coins, smashed it on that. We'll talk a bit about meme coins and strategies for a bit today. We'll start off with that, and then also liquidity pools. Bizzy's been really successful in the creation of those and making money regardless of how the market goes. So I wanted to get him on here to kind of teach me, teach everyone else, see if we can get a bit of an edge in the market when things aren't going perhaps as well as we'd like. So I guess we'll start off sort of with meme coins, Bizzy. To take us, I wanted to go over just the most effective strategies you found in taking profit. So I suppose from a generalized manner for people listening, pretty much everybody listening now is probably into meme coins. That's kind of, I think, what got everyone here other than Bitcoin. So I guess give us just a quick rundown, maybe touch on your background just a bit, Bizzy, just 2 minutes, brother, for the people that are new. And then let's get into meme coins and sort of what you think about them and the best way to kind of take profits on those.
yeah, I mean, so I started in crypto in 2011. I bought a lot of Bitcoin, sold like 4 months later, probably, or something like that. And then, as the time went on, and I, kind of would catch like headlines of like, oh, Bitcoin just broke this price. It kind of like it ate at me, right? Like after I hit like, I want to say like after I hit $100 the first time is when I really started being like, what the hell, dude?
Mm-hmm.
And and it kind of just like ate at me. There was a point in my life where there was like 6 months of time when after Bitcoin hit $1,000, where I was like, dude, I'm like, I couldn't even sleep at night, bro. It was so bad. But I
Yeah.
got like addicted, bro. I got hooked. You know what I mean? After that, and went through the what was it 2017 cycle, and I just didn't have big money in the market, but
Yeah.
I did good.
How did you find that cycle? Because I
How
wasn't
did I?
here.
Oh, it was insane, bro. I mean,
Way different to now
oh
in
yeah,
this
for
book. Yeah.
sure, dude. Back then, it was like, okay, so the biggest like difference is one, like the moves were much more insane, right? Like Bitcoin and Ethereum could move like 15 to 25% a day.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
with that being said, like, I mean, can you imagine what that would do to the market today? I mean, it would decimate everything.
Yeah,
Um,
dude. Yeah, and
it,
also I'm guessing the drawdowns were quite big as well. The pullbacks were largish as well.
yeah, but during that run up though, it was just so astronomically like it was
Yeah.
just so insane, dude. Like, like I mean, the coins, like the coins felt like, I mean, they were all just running just so hard, bro. It's like one day you had like 5 grand, the next day you had 500,000, like, and it was like
Oh yeah.
constant, right? But
Yeah.
in that cycle, another thing I will say about that cycle that was big, that I look back on it and I'm like, holy hell, like it's so much different. Is that like even the last, what was it? Last bear market would have been 2021. Yeah, so it's been two bear markets since then, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
the last bear market didn't even feel like a bear market, bro. Like
Yeah.
everyone was here still, like not like there was a lot less people, but like everyone who was here was not even worried about like the crypto dying, right? Back
No,
in
no, no. I
2017,
wasn't. So you meaning 22, 23
yeah.
bear market? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got yeah. Okay. Yep.
Like no one was, everyone was like, yeah, just grind out another, the halvening will come and things will come
Yep.
back.
I agree.
Everyone was like sure of it, right? But back in like, back in the day, even like before, because I remember like seeing it, like being like, oh, Bitcoin's dead, whatever. But like back then, it was not a sure thing. It was always
Yeah.
like, this shit might be over. You know what I
Like
mean?
it could actually die. Hey, back then, like it could have just, or just I guess, just interest in it from further out than our small bubble just may not have ever come in. It may just not have taken off. I guess Bitcoin to a
I mean,
certain.
yeah, there's that, and then it just, yeah, it may have never come taken off, but it may just like, this might be it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Like
even the
everyone just
COVID
sells and it
crash,
goes to zero and then it's just over.
even the COVID crash was wild. But like towards the end of like 2018 and stuff, like I mean, it just felt much more grim, and there was much less people. Like, I knew every single person on crypto Twitter. You know what I
Yep.
mean? I knew every single coin that existed. Like, there wasn't like,
Yeah.
I had my like stuff that I did like every day, do research and whatever. But like, I knew of every single token that was out there pretty much. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You could have
Yeah.
just like named random tokens for like hours, and I would have been able to tell you what it was.
Yeah.
Nowadays, like it's impossible. There's 50,000, 100,000 a day.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it was a much different environment, much smaller, much tighter knit, and it's getting even crazier now because like like I don't even know half the people on crypto Twitter. I feel like, and like
Nah.
there's guys like Kobe who I think like legend. Dude's been in this since the get go. You know what I mean? And like I feel like half the people that come into the market recently don't even know who he is.
Agreed. Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? How those bigger names to the newer generations may not, what's the word I can use, may not even be that well known. It's almost a bit of a shame in some ways, but I guess that's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how it moves on like that, and it's weird how and it's weird how crypto moves so fast that you actually, man, I'm the same. Half the people on the timeline I don't even know. I'm like, man, these must be new people. Like, I'm like, who the fuck are all these people? Like vibing and talking, and I'm like, man, am I out? I must be out the loop or something. Like, it just moves so fast. Like, if you stepped away from crypto for 6 months and came back, the
Lost.
man, I would be fucking lost. I
I
reckon.
feel like I'm lost after a week, bro.
Yeah, like that's why it's almost scary to step away because I'm like, shit, am I going to lose my edge? Like, not that I have a big one at the moment, but it kind of feels like that. Eh? If you're away a week, I'd come back like in the dark, going, where am I? Like, are we still into NFTs, or are they gone now, or like,
Mhm.
what's the? And I remember like with what you were saying about how you knew every coin, I was sort of the same when I came in. So I missed the COVID crash, and well, I guess unfortunately or fortunately, depending how you want to look at it. But I came just after. Um, but even back then, I could almost name all the coins in 21. What I mean by that is it was Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then it was just all your altcoins. Like, but then with altcoins, I could name the top 100 no problem, right? Well, just about, just because I was researching so hard. So I kind of had my finger on the pulse, I think, of the whole crypto space very quickly when I joined it in Feb 21. Within a month, I was pretty well versed in what was what and what levers are moving. And I remember back then, crypto gaming was starting to kick off with like the Decentraland and Sandbox. Were the main ones. Yeah, it was Mana Engine, if you remember that as well. That was kicking
Mhm.
ass. Made good money on those, but you just it was funny with the altcoins because you just had to pick a couple of the ones in the right metas and they'd pop off. Whereas now it doesn't move like that at all. So I've had to definitely adjust the way I look at it, and I don't know if it's got harder or if it's got easier, but there's a lot of more distractions now than in 21. I think. There's,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, yeah, I guess meme coins hadn't even really kicked off. Like in 21, I mean, there was obviously what they had. I mean, Doge had its moment in the sun with SNL and all that, and then there was Shiba that came. I missed that, but I didn't get meme coins then either. I remember being so elitist, bro. I remember shunning someone because they got into meme coins, and I was like, "Oh no, you shouldn't be recommending that shit to people." Blah blah blah. And then fast forward a year, look at me, man. What a scumbag, eh? I became the ultimate scumbag. I'm streaming the shit now.
You're
But
not done being people
it's
though.
funny how, like, the way I thought, like, I came into it. I don't know what you were like, but I came into it like Bitcoin's the one. That's the savior. And then I was like, altcoins. Okay, this has a use case. I remember getting into was it V Chain? Was
Yeah,
it
VeChain.
V Chain? I can't remember what it solved, but it
Dude,
was
VeChain's crazy, bro. They still sponsor the UFC. Like you'll see
pretty.
VeChain all over like
Yeah.
UFC fights and stuff like that. It's so I don't know. It's like a blast from the past, kind of, because I haven't heard a soul mention
No,
VeChain.
bro. No, neither. And that was meant to solve, like, was VeChain, were they using that for, like, they were talking about in supermarkets for scanning, like,
Yeah, like
stock
what are
take
they
and shit?
called?
Like, so
Yeah,
boring stuff, but necessary, right?
no, it's supply chain, like the track supply chain.
That's right. So I remember getting into that for those reasons. So when I was navigating altcoins, I was kind of like, okay, you buy Bitcoin because that's like digital gold. And then, okay, which altcoins solve which problem? That's about as difficult as it got back then. Now it's like no one cares about utility at all, like just about. Because I remember 21 was like the utility slash gaming run, and then DeFi as well was slightly earlier. I think I missed DeFi. I must have just missed it because I was Feb 21. So I think I missed DeFi a little bit, um, but now it's like if you talk utility, it's almost kind of dirty, and then people are like, you've got to trust whether the dev even is going to, or the team is even going to do the utility they even promised, and often not. So now it's like, fuck it, I might as well put my money on Pepe, man, and just chill gifs and memes on the timeline and have fun. Like, and then I think that's probably. Do you think that's where all the old coin people went? Bizzy? Do you think
Yeah,
he's the old coin?
100%. Oh
Yeah,
no, 100%, bro. Like I've been saying that since the get go. Like everyone's like alt season. I'm like, dude, this is alt season. Like go to the meme coin market. That's where alt season is happening. It's been happening for over a year. Like
yeah,
I mean, alt season hasn't stopped. It's just not
yeah,
in the alts that you think it's going to happen in. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um,
I mean, you would have known. You would have known a lot of. Have you found a lot of traders that were trading alts have moved to memes? If not all, have they all gone? Do you reckon? Or do you know some altcoin
yeah, I mean,
that just don't
I
fuck with
feel like
memes?
no, I feel like like most people have. You know what I mean? But I also, I started with the meme coins back in 2020, maybe 2019, 2020.
Mhm.
With the BSC stuff, and then I was doing that for like a year or whatever, and then I switched to NFTs after I got rugged for, I think I talked about this last time, but got rugged for like, I don't know, like 120, 150K,
Whoa, yeah,
like instantly.
fuck.
And that's when I was like, I'm gonna try NFTs then, since everyone's talking about them.
Mm-mm.
And then I kind of got hooked into that and ran with that for a while until flopping back over to meme coins. But damn. Man, your stream, bro. It's the bad luck charm, bro. You're like the new up only. Bitcoin is nuking.
Is it?
Mhm.
It is too. 108. Let's go. Give me an
Mhm.
entry, mother effer. Yeah, well, I get. Look, for Bitcoin, I'd like it to just show its hand, man. If it's going to dip, hurry up and do it, and let's move up. Um, Bloody thing, eh? But take us through, Busy, just real quick before we go through how to do liquidity pools. With your experience with meme coins, man, give us some of your what are some of your strategies you do to kind of ensure or do how do I word this? I just smoked before, so I'm probably not in peak condition
You
right
talking
now,
about how to
man.
take profits?
How do we make maximum profits without with etiquette is probably the best way to do it.
So, with me, I'm just like of the mind of kind of like always be taking profits. But you kind of have to judge also like how big is the bag that you got. how well do you think this meme's gonna do? Like, a lot of times if I'm just like gambling, like buying like random pump funds, like unless it's like a crazy narrative that popped up or some like new event or whatever, or how early or late my entry is gonna really determine how I take profits. But if it's just a random meme or something, I might take half it at 2x, right? Just
Yeah.
to kind of remove my risk. But there's also the case when you're super confident in something, like you find that unicorn, like you also
Mm,
with those coins, you have to be like, because it's all about big wins in this game.
yeah.
So when you find those unicorns, you also have to be willing to just hold and not take profits, like
Mm-hmm.
until it's time. Like with goat, when I found goat, I ate. It was like the most I've ever aped into a coin at the time. Now my clips are like 10 times the size, but
Mm-hmm.
um, when I found goat, it was like I was so confident, right? And I aped more than I've ever aped, and I didn't take profits until like 200x. So it
Yeah.
was like, but that's the thing though. I knew what I found, right?
Could
So
you sleep at night with a bag that large? How was the stress levels? Was it
I mean, the
okay?
first day, first 2 days or whatever, yeah, it was a little more difficult. But
Yeah.
then what made it easy, actually, I will say this is pretty important with Goat for me to hold that long,
Mm,
was like finding like a lot of my good, some of the guys that I'm in group chats with and stuff, like some people that I respect and trust, they were also in it and also like super bullish. So that helped, that made it much easier to hold.
yeah.
Um, it just made it much easier to hold. And then the other thing that makes it easier to hold is just volume, really. If I see
Yeah.
constant volume on something, it makes it so much easier just to not worry about it because it has attention, right? Um,
What are you looking for? Sorry to interrupt with volume. Like, do you have certain percentages you're looking for?
well, it changes, bro. It
Yeah.
changes with the time, like, like certain times,
Yeah.
like, back in that day with GOAT, um, I had never even, I don't even think I had ever even seen a token get a million volume in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
At that point in time. And it had like 1.5 million in 5 minutes. And I was like, holy shit, this is fucking next level. So I think really what it's about is making sure you're always like in touch with the market, looking at new runners and stuff, like paying attention to how much volume they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then paying attention to like when they dip, what happens to the volume? Does the volume pick up as the dip's happening and then slow down as it's starting to reverse?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Does it just maintain consistent volume? So you kinda have to watch the market and just stay in tune with everything, and then you know what I mean? Because like I said, it
Mm-hmm.
changes, like, um, as the last 5 months or 4 months or whatever, volume's been a lot lower, and in that time, like, if you saw a coin with, like, 50,000 volume in 5 minutes, that was a lot.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
it just varies, so you really, really do have to just make sure you're paying attention every day and keeping an eye on things and gauging.
Kind of
Uh,
like getting to know the weather or the tides of the ocean, I suppose, right? Once you like a
yeah.
fisherman, once you understand the tides and all that, I guess you can be a bit more effective at that. Not that I'm a fisherman, but I guess that's what you're kind of saying with the volume is just be aware every day, keep an eye on it, get to know what's high, what's low, what's in the middle, and that will let you. And then I guess that'll make a runner a lot more obvious to you because it'll
Mhm,
stand out.
exactly, and it can help you gauge, like, how big of a runner, right? Like, with GOAT, I lucked out because I'd already known about the AI prior because of Zuff. Remember Zuff
Yeah,
mentioned that
yeah, yeah,
he mentioned that AI to us, like, 3 months prior, True Terminal. He's like, "Pay
yeah.
attention to this." It was, like, invested by AI. So they only had, like, 300 followers when we followed it, and basically, when I clicked the Twitter link or whatever on Deck Screener, it went to that, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is that thing that Zuff pointed out." So I
Uh,
ate the fuck out of it, but it was also because of the volume. Um, and yeah, I mean, so, I kinda lucked out on that, but at the same time, if it weren't for the volume being so crazy, I probably wouldn't have aped it so hard. I think
mm-mm.
volume's probably the number one thing, period. Yeah, like, it really is. I mean, it's obviously the most important factor, I would say.
Mm, mhm.
But you do have to pay attention to because nowadays, like, with the lower caps, especially like the scammers and shit have volume bots and ways to fake that, but they can't maintain a volume bot forever.
That's right.
It costs money to do that, so they do have to, and then that's another thing too. You should be watching the order books, right? Because you can tell a lot of times, like if you're paying attention, if it's fake volume or real volume, just by like looking at the transactions, seeing who's transacting.
See
Why
if
is
it's
this
the
wallet?
same wallet over and
Yeah,
over.
why is it the same wallet doing the same dollar amount transactions back and forth
Yeah.
constantly? Things like that you can pick up on. Um, so it's really just important to be aware, and I think the number one thing is just getting your intuition up. Like, in past cycles, like pretty much every other cycle, like I'd find something, I'd be like, oh my god, this is gonna be a winner, like this for sure, and I'd ape big, and then it would just fucking flop. It would just fall over and die, and I'm like, damn, like how I was so sure about this, and then like and that would happen constantly, and then like I would think the same thing for the next one, but then I wouldn't ape it hard because I was like, wow, you're probably wrong again. You start
Mhm.
losing confidence, and then that one would run, and then you kind of repeat this cycle of like being wrong constantly. And with this cycle, dude, it was insane. Like, I mean, everything came together. I was right every single time, like for months. Where like pretty much everything that I found confidence in and that I felt confident about and I aped
Mm.
hard, it did moon.
Yeah,
Um,
so
like there
good.
was
I'm waiting
goat.
for that for myself, man.
I think, dude, you just stay involved and it comes. Like, you know what I mean? It's like yeah, like I think we talked about this last time too, but like, first cycle didn't sell anything. Second cycle sold too early. Third cycle sold just at the right time, right? Um, well, not really, but you learn how to do it properly. Like with goat, I didn't take profits until 200x, and I didn't sell like a substantial. I sold like maybe like 5% of my bag at 200x, right?
Yeah,
Um, and then sold the majority of my bag between like 400 million to like a billion.
man.
Um,
Was that your? Would you say that's your best trade today? Is Go?
it was until like this past like 2 weeks. But
What you get?
that was my best trade probably by like a size trade by X's. But
Yeah,
like my most profit on a trade now is Farcoin.
yeah,
So
dude.
like yeah, dude, Farcoin, it just like has basically just simply because of the size that I aped, right?
Yeah.
Is why it was a better trade. But I didn't nowhere, I've done like maybe like 5x, but or 6x or whatever. But it was just such a large amount of money that I put in, right? Like I like publicly I aped 1.25 million, but I actually aped 2.5 million into Goat around the bottom or into Farcoin at the bottom.
Jeez.
So on my public, I did the 1.25. That's like my trading wallet. But so that ended up being a better trade. Simply just because of the size.
I'm trying to bring up Firecoin now. Where the fuck is it?
Let me see.
What's his market cap at the moment? 1.35 bill.
Yeah, dude, it's getting nuked.
Oh, it's getting new. Oh, no, that's not bad though. Fucking, that
Yeah,
chart's glorious.
yeah, it's
Oh
amazing. It's a
man, I
beautiful
can't
chart,
believe
man.
I faded this.
Yeah, I think, and funny enough, man, it's funny the way that like this
Classic.
space can work, right? Because like with Goat, how I found Goat, like I track a lot of wallets, right? But I
Uh,
wasn't paying attention to the wallets that I tracked at the time.
uh, uh,
I just wasn't looking, right? But I happened to be on my computer, happened to open Telegram, like, or I happened to have Telegram open on the side of the screen, and I saw like a new pop up in my wallet tracking, which I never looked at like at that time. Like I didn't really like pay attention. I would look at it every now and then, but I didn't like wait for new ones and rush to it. I just saw like it pop up that like someone bought Goat. And I was like, goat. And I was like, the fuck is goat? So I click it and I go to goat, and then that's when I
what's
realized
the
what it
chances
was.
of you seeing that alert, dude?
Huh?
What are the chances of you seeing that alert as well?
Exactly. It's so low, bro.
I'm the
Because I like
same. I get them and I just never fucking check them, right?
yeah, that's why it's important with wallet tracking to like limit your strategy, I think.
Yeah,
Like you need to like pick a few really good wallets. That's it. Like so that like,
Yeah.
and if there's one that you don't like if there's a wallet that keeps popping up and you don't even look, you need to just delete the wallet or remove it from your active tracking because it'll like kind of like train your brain to not look at it and you'll just be like, it's probably nothing. So with wallet tracking, how I've had the best success is like make sure that every wallet in my wallet tracking is a prime
Quality.
time, like just prime, like you want to ape anything they fucking buy. Um for the most part, or you at least want to look and see what's going on. But with Fartcoin, how it worked out for me is for the previous 5 months, I'd say we've been getting better for a month, but like three to 5 months prior to that, it was like constant just PvP rugs every day, just rug PvP, PvP. The PvP stuff that really got to me, where like a coin would be running and then whatever FNF group would launch the same ticker, bundle it, and run it up higher, and then yours would nuke. And it happened to me like in 27 out of 30 apes, like in that week. And then in that 3-day period, I basically had that happen to me like 3 times and I lost like 250K. And I
Wow.
was like, all right, I said, I'm done. I said, fuck Solana, fuck the trenches. I'm done with it. I'm gonna just, I've been watching Fartcoin, just because it had such crazy volume. It was doing 10% of the volume of meme coins on Solana at that time. And had so much mind share, everyone's talking like it just, I always saw it on the timeline, Dip Wheeler's constantly there. I was like, you know what? I said, this thing looks bottomed, and I just all in it, sold everything else, and I literally went all in. But had it not been for me getting rugged for 250K in that prior 3 days, I wouldn't have done that.
Mm-mm.
I probably would have kept, stayed in the trenches and trying to ape low caps and whatever. But so that like $250,000 that I lost was kind of like a blessing in disguise, right?
Yeah, it's funny
Um,
how it's funny how it works like that. Doesn't feel like it at the time, but then sometimes looking back on those losses you've had, sometimes they're important, but it fucking sucks at the time. But I guess the important thing is learn your lesson as
yeah,
much as, or if there is a lesson. Sometimes I don't even know if there is, but you try and find one. Otherwise, it's an expensive nothing. Um, but
no, I mean,
yeah,
but that thing was a big part of that was like also was like me identifying my psychology too. That's a big part of like the way I trade, like
yeah,
market psychology. So I saw what was happening to me. If it's happening to me, then I know it's happening to other people, right? And I knew for in particular, like whales were getting slaughtered, like all the whales that I tracked and stuff, just getting slaughtered every day. So I said, what do I want to do? I want to ape Fartcoin, and that's it, and hold it, right?
yeah, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Like, if I feel like this, then other people are probably gonna feel like this too soon. I said, eventually, all this whale money is gonna rotate into like a safer play because they're either gonna take their money off, to the sidelines, or they're gonna ape something safer. And I was like, no one wants to fucking sideline themselves, so that money is gonna seek a safe haven play, right? Like something larger cap, something safer. And then that was my whole thought process. I was like, dude, eventually all the money's gonna rotate to Fartcoin. I guarantee it. And I was correct. I mean, it was the only thing that ran for like 6 weeks.
Yeah,
Um,
that was such a good call. You and D Train from Shadow was onto it pretty
he's
hard.
been in since the get-go.
Yeah, and he was calling it, and even on the dips he was calling it, and I saw it on the timeline. Man, I had so many opportunities to enter. That's the worst. That's the worst part about that coin. Is that it wasn't like a daily run or whatever where you heard a call, you didn't ape in 5 minutes, and 10 minutes later it's at a billion, and you're like, fuck. One of those ones. You're like, oh, okay. You can sort of forgive yourself for those. The ones that slow cook, I'm like, damn. That's and then those are the lessons that you tell yourself next cycle or next week or the next day that you'll make sure if that happens again, you refine your radar
Yep.
and like you do when you find that unicorn, I guess back yourself, I guess to a certain degree, and maybe go in heavier and be prepared to hold.
Yep.
Uh,
That's you just said it. Going heavier, like that's I will actually say that's probably the number one biggest thing for me this cycle, or like change that I made that like affected how well I did this cycle, because obviously this is my best cycle by far. But the reason was like my sizing, right? Like, don't get me wrong, like I gambled on a lot of shitters, right? But I knew what I was doing, right? I knew this is a gamble, it's both like this is probably gonna die in 5 minutes, but I aped I sized in accordingly, right? Like it was like, oh well, I'm only gonna put like 5 soul in this or 3 soul. And then when those big plays came though, like the peanuts and the
Mm,
goats and then the fart coins, I I like, I made sure that I sized massively into those plays.
mm. Did
And
you
I
get into
and I and
Peanut?
it Huh?
Were you in Peanut?
Yeah, I nailed peanut, dude. It was actually the biggest ape that I had after goat. Like, goat, I ate 100 soul in a goat or 105 soul or something. And
Phew.
then into peanut, it was like 125 soul or something, which was a lot for me at the time still.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but it was at like 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, I think.
Mm-mm.
And then it went to like 100 million or 130 million the next day. Um, so that being able to size properly is like one of the most important things in my opinion. And
Yeah, I
made
agree.
one of the biggest differences in my trading
Because
this
I think
cycle.
sometimes you can chop yourself up um, going into 5, 10 coins a day,
Oh yeah.
and going 5 soul a coin or whatever you're doing, or even 1 soul, whatever you're doing. I find if doing that strat there can just fucking rinse you, man, so fast.
It just depends. You have to do it at the right time. Like I
Mm,
was telling people the past, like, until this last month, but like for like 4 months straight, like don't blow all your money now. Like don't,
yeah,
this is not easy mode. As in most of the money you make in a cycle is going to happen in like very small windows. Like it might
agreed.
happen, it might be a 2 week period. It might be like a 1 month period or a 2 month period out of this whole cycle. That's where you're gonna make all your money. I mean, and like right now that's the time we should be entering, right, or getting there.
Yeah,
Um, but I even had people bitching at me when I said that. Like Gake commented on one of my
did he?
like posts about that, and he was like, "Oh no, I disagree." But it's like, yeah, for you because you have copy traders. You have,
Yeah,
and you're a good trader. You know what I mean? Like you're one of the top traders. Period. So your results do not reflect the average person.
no,
And then I had other people like saying like, "Oh no, that's wrong." And it's like funny enough because you don't see those people on the timeline anymore. Like most of these people got sliced and diced and
yeah,
milked for everything in the past couple months. And then now when things are about to be
good.
back in easy mode again and they don't have any money left. And it's like, I mean, I try and tell you I've done this, and I think because it's just these people see people like Trader Pow and Gate all you know and Trader Pow write his threads on like why you should be constantly blah blah blah. But the thing is, bro, you have copy traders and you've been doing this. You're a really good trader. You know what you're doing.
Yeah,
You're
that's
top
right.
percentile. Most people are gonna get just milked for
Destroyed.
everything during these times. Like it's way better to sit on your hands and wait for the risk reward to be in your favor, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and I'm not saying don't be involved. I'm not saying don't like use a tiny portion of your portfolio to just stay involved and
Yeah.
whatever, scratch that gambling itch. But
Mm-mm.
for the most part, like 99% of your bag should be sidelined waiting, for things to get easy, or for like one of those opportunities to pop up that is just like massive, where and it is. But you're gonna miss things. There's always gonna be runners, even in the worst of markets. But is that the best expenditure of your time? Like if you're trying to, nail the bullseye on one runner
Mm.
out of like 100,000 like rugs, you're gonna get chopped up. But if
Yeah,
it's to the
yeah.
point where there's like one runner for every like 100 rugs, you have a much better risk reward there, right?
Mm-mm.
Much better chance of hitting the winner. Um, I mean, up until prior to Fartcoin, 90% of the money I made this cycle was literally in the same weekend. Um, it was like when AI started, right, with Goat. So
Mm.
like, outside of Goat, I had two other trades that I made like from like one or two sold to like 300K in a day off of two other trades that same weekend. So all this happened in this one weekend when things just like, you could tell it was easy mode. It was easy to see, easy to
Mm-mm.
know it was, and like that AI meta, um, that whole time was like a really good time to be risk on and just fully focused on the trenches. Um, but it's hella important to wait for those times and to be able to have the patience to sit on your hands, right?
Where do you think we are with that in mind? Where do you think we are in the cycle now?
Where is that list? Let me see. Um, cycle we are here meme, I guess, right? Or where is that? Cycle. Oh wait, market cycle. Is it cycle stages? Here we go. I would say we're probably right here.
Optimism.
Optimism. That's what I. That's me being optimistic here.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I kind of believe we're there between here and belief. Probably.
yeah, yeah.
That's really and the thing is though, man. I mean, I could be crazy, bro. In like every cycle, I hate to say it, bro. Every cycle, there's like every single cycle, there's always like that. This time's different. This time's
Yeah.
different. It's like this thing, and it's a meme now at this point where it's like
I'm
it's not
listening to
different,
people
bro.
tell me now,
This
bro.
cycle feels different. I mean, it does because like we have like just the most insane things happening. Like states and countries and world powers are like adopting crypto now.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
crazy.
it's
Crazy.
insane, dude. Like the United States, the strong, like like the most powerful nation in the world, has basically like basically announced that they're going to be taking it on, and now you're seeing all these corporations announce and like all these different hedge funds announce that they're going to be buying, and like there's been a bunch just the past 2 days that I've seen from Cointelegraph and posting them, and it, it's like you have countries and then you have corporations, all these people are buying coins and Bitcoin, and there's not that many coins like there in reality. I mean, we're almost down to the point where like I don't know if people realize this, but like the halvening means half the rewards for the miners, right? So like the electricity costs don't necessarily go down, meaning like
Mm-mm.
like their profit goes down half. So Bitcoin needs to like if it doesn't go up in price enough every cycle, then they're kind of cooked. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
the,
good
the
point.
actual coin, it's cooked. I mean, and it's actually reaching that point where like it had to do what it's done this cycle. It's kind of crazy to me that it worked out like it did. But and it was kind of hard to believe after the whole FTX meltdown and everything. I was
Yeah,
kind of nervous. I was like, man, are we gonna bounce back hard enough that that everything doesn't kind of come crashing in on itself?
yeah, yeah. Especially seeing when it pulled back when Bitcoin, what did it get to about 16 and a half thousand? Is that
Yeah,
the something around there? Yeah, that got pretty hairy, eh? For
did
people
not.
who weren't around then, it's quite funny. It's interesting now because obviously I'm streaming now and it's a bull run. And anyone who's new won't know what a bear market is or feels like or looks like or smells like. And I remember when I joined, and I joined in a bull run and I didn't know either. And I remember telling myself, oh, this will be easy. When the bear market comes, I'll know what to buy and I'll know when the bottom's in and I'll be brave and all these things. And then FTX happens and Solana goes to like $9 or something. You're like, holy fucking shit, man. Um, which was a massive buy opportunity in hindsight, but at the time, it didn't feel like a buy opportunity to me. Not then. It felt like, holy shit, is this the end? To a certain degree. And then when Bitcoin, I mean, I didn't buy Bitcoin at 16.5K. I didn't time the bottom. I didn't have the balls. I re-entered at about 30. Something around there between 28 and 32. I got back in, but so not bad, but just shows that it's hard to time bottoms, and tops.
You know,
But it's fucking hard. So definitely
you can't.
scale in and out is my
No,
advice.
you just scale in and out, and that's what I like. liquidity pools for a lot too. Like they're for DCAing, right? Or it's like, you know, when something like, especially on Solana with Solana coins, they go up and down so much, right? Like they might drop 30, 50, 70, 90% a few times a day at lower caps. And but like I would feel terrible. Like it'd like go up 100% and then, or whatever, and then dump 70. And I would just be like, man, why didn't I sell? Why didn't I make profit?
Bro, I've had that
But
thought 1,000.
when I do liquidity pools, I don't feel as bad about that. Like I'm like, oh well, at least I'm generating fees, right? And it's like it kind of like helped me in that sense.
I know
And if you
exactly
want,
what you mean.
you
That's
can always
cool.
pull the liquidity pool, and then you took profits, right? But
I like it because it feels. I mean, I don't know if I'm right on this because I haven't done. I've done liquidity pools. We were speaking offline, but mine was a total noob effort, right? But it feels like with liquidity pools, you're kind of what's the word I can say? You can be more. You can be nimble on your feet, or agile to how the market moves versus memes, spot memes. I don't know if that's what you're kind of alluding to, that you're kind of in control no matter where it goes,
no,
versus just writing it down. I mean, when
I,
you write it down, you can DCA in, but it's probably not the same feeling.
oh, you're talking about DCAing in, I guess, and like, that's another thing too. I like doing that as well. I love using it to buy as well, but I'm more talking about like when you're holding a coin
Mm,
and like, it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. That's how the charts work, right? They go, up 10%, down 5, or up 20 and then down 25.
yeah,
Um, it can like take a toll on your mental if you're paying attention. And
yeah,
with liquidity pools, it allowed me to like kind of like combat that mental stress, because even if it went down again, like if it went up 25% and then went down 30, like normally I'd be like, fuck, why didn't I just sell? I could have bought more over here, whatever.
mm,
But
mm,
with
mm.
liquidity pools, it's like, okay, well, it's fine. Yeah, maybe it would have been best had I sold it there and bought back, but like at least I'm generating fees like the whole time. Um, and that's kind of like how it like kind of like eased that stress in my brain. And then with bigger bags, it's really good because you don't nuke the chart, right? Like if I have, with my goat bag at the time, like it was like a fucking $4 million bag. To sell $4 million of a coin is like not easy. Like no matter what like pretty much no matter what the market cap, like, you know what I mean? Like right now, fart coin's a little different because it's freaking so liquid. Like there's so much liquidity, but 99% of the time it's not like that, right? Like even with a 500 million market cap coin,
Yeah, yeah.
if you're dumping a couple $100,000, it affects the chart. You suffer a lot of slippage, and then other people start panic selling, and if you're a tracked wallet, then it makes it even worse. But
Are you looking for that, Busy? Are you looking for like I'm trying to think of a non-erotic word, thick liquidity? Are you looking for that in coins when you enter?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, I always look at the liquidity. It can affect how hard I ape, right? Like,
yeah.
or like with like right now, I basically sold everything just now the other day, like a couple days ago, just to buy all fart coin, because it like right now, man, I'm already up so good. Like pretty much, I could cash out and just retire for the rest of my life. And
Fuck yeah.
so like the
Oh,
safety of
good.
Fartcoin feels good to me. Like I feel confident in it. But the other thing is, like, I have my holding bags, which I don't like. I've found a way in my brain to separate those from myself, like to where I don't
Mhm.
worry about them going up and down. But like with my trading wallet, I've got like $2.5 million worth of fucking Fartcoin, right? So with a normal coin, like a Tick coin, I'll use for example, because that's what I had a lot of.
Mhm.
It like to exit my like $400,000, $500,000 bag of Bitcoin, it took all day, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
you know what I mean? It was an entire day for me to do it without wrecking the chart.
Yeah,
With Fartcoin, I can literally dump my $2.5 million bag in one clip if I want, and it won't
that's
be
so
that
good.
bad. It won't like I don't do that necessarily, but
Yeah.
like today, or like I had like a little, I guess not a short, but like a spot short where I sold my Fartcoin to buy it back a little bit lower. And I didn't sell all of it, but I sold $2 million worth of Fartcoin, right? And it took me like 30 minutes, right? To do it halfway efficiently. But to buy back, like when Trump made that announcement, I was able to just ape my $2 million back in like 3 minutes. You know, I was just running $500,000 clips, and I didn't have to worry about it. Like the slippage was like a 0.5%, less than a 0.5% slippage.
Yeah, that's good.
So, you know, I enjoy that safety of being able to like enter and exit my bag as quickly as possible. Even though I don't want to exit my bag of Farcoin, like, you know, I hold it 99% of the time, but every now and then I try and land a quick trade. But I know that like if it came down to it, you know, if that moment did come, then I have the ability to just exit it
Yeah,
quick. You
see
know,
you later.
I mean, I could dump my whole entire bag in one clip, like my on my trading wallet. I could literally one clip it for probably 1.3% slippage or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do you have people over all over you with your wallet with Farcoin saying why are you selling and stuff like that? Do you get those sorts of
no,
things?
no, I don't have. I've never had anyone.
Brilliant.
I've never had anyone say anything about it really. But I don't, like I said, I don't really sell that often. Just every now and then, if I have a good feeling, a good opportunity, um, that I'll do that. But I don't know. I don't think people don't really approach me about that kind of. Well, actually, the other day when I was exiting my Bitcoin bag, someone did message me, but they didn't message me in a bad way. They messaged me like, "Hey, like I was just like curious, like why you were, you know, exiting. Is there something
Yeah.
going on?" And I was like, "Dude, I just ate $225,000 and all the whales dumped on my head. So I like I said, I'm out. You know, I said
You're like,
I
yeah,
like I don't like that shit. And
nah,
you know, and it was like at like a crucial point, and I just saw it, and I just said, you know what, I don't want, you know what I mean? Like I just didn't want the stress. I don't need the stress.
nah,
I don't need, you know, I don't need a 10x, 20x, 30x. Like I don't need
nah,
that right now. I'd much prefer like peace of mind. And like I could do a 10x with Farcoin. I believe I could easily do a 10x with Farcoin. But
mm,
like I mean, even I mean, shit, even no X's from here, I'm fine. But
yeah,
you
no,
know,
or
I'd
yeah,
like to.
just hold the money, or even a two
Yeah.
X would
I
be.
mean, I'd rather. I'd like I'm saying, I could if I got a 2x from here, I'd be. They would be insane, you know, for
Mm,
me at this with the size that I have in there, right?
mm.
Like, you know, right now I've got like close to 7 million Farcoins, so uh, it's total, like, you know what I mean? Total. Not like on my trading wallet, I have, I think 1.7 or something. But so I've got like maybe 6 to 7 million. And you know, so that like I mean, even at this level right here, that's life-changing money. That's enough to pretty much I could pull it and even put it into something even safer. Like I could go toss it into a stable coin pool that gives me 3% per year and still make, you know, and still pull in damn near like 200, $300,000 a year, right?
Yeah, not a
Um,
bad way to live.
no, exactly. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And like for
free.
me, I'm not a flashy dude. Like I don't need a Lambo. I don't need a mansion. I don't need like any of that shit, bro. Like I still drive a fucking 2015 Toyota Corolla, bro. Like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good.
so like, so you know what I mean? I'm just not that kind of person. Like this, I mean, and this is, I mean, this is enough money for anyone to be happy, I think, for the most part. But
What do
it's
you treat yourself like? What's your, you know, say you nail the cycle, right, and you sell out, the bull run's done. What's is there anything that you got your eye on that you think, oh, I'll buy something for myself to say job well done?
um as far as buying things, like I don't even want things. I just want like experiences, man. Like I
Yeah,
want to go. Honestly, I'll probably go spend a like my after the cycle was always my deal, right? Like when I planned on doing this, but going to Europe for like 3 months or so, maybe 3 to 6 months, and just like traveling and you know, just experiencing Europe, and then probably spend the entire year traveling in general. Just
yeah,
like
dude, and
I
just
probably won't even. I won't even have a house. I don't think at that point. Like you know, like I rent an apartment right now. I don't think I'll even have an apartment like when that happens.
yes,
And just kind of go travel the world, you know. And then after that, dude, I really have no idea. Like I'll probably go buy a house somewhere if I find somewhere that I like enough. But you know, waiting for the housing market to kind of
chill
fix
out.
itself. Yeah, exactly, bro.
Is it America? It's pumping, yeah. In the States, I think everywhere in the world, I think, is pumping pretty much.
Yeah, it's been pumping for many years, bro. Like, I did real estate for almost a decade,
Oh,
and
did you?
yeah,
Yeah.
so I started when I was like 20. Maybe I was younger than 21. I think I
Wow.
was like 20 or 21, and and then going into like COVID, right? I thought I was gonna lose. Like I thought it was gonna crash, right? I thought everything was over, and then it pumped hard as fuck. Like the market went ballistic. And then I would say a couple years later, I kind of started thinking the same thing, like, oh, the market's gotta cool down. Like it just can't keep going like this, bro. It's just how can like it just has to. It has to pull back. And it just didn't. And then I think now it is kind
Um,
of slowing down a little bit, but still nowhere near, like I don't think that the prices of homes have slowed down with the increase in interest rates, right? Like I think the interest rates going up have outpaced the amount that the homes have actually gone down in price.
yeah.
um so to me it's still just too high.
So
But I mean, we'll figure it out when the time comes, right? We'll know when the time comes, and hopefully I mean, I wouldn't mind buying a few like investment properties.
I
If
think
the
if you're
market,
cash rich in the next sort of five years, once the bear market hits for a lot of markets, I think property might have a bit of a pullback, a cool down as well, and that someone
yeah,
like you with who's cash rich will you could eat pretty good, bro, for the next
mhm,
decade. Um,
exactly.
you're well positioned for property, especially if you're cash rich. Bizzy, do you want to take us? Should we get onto the liquidity pools and let's flex some brain power, man? So that was a bit of meme coin talk, but Bizzy's going to run us through. Hopefully, well, how to set them up. I'll let him do most of the talking because I am a total fucking retard with this. I know
Yeah, and
nothing.
do you want me to just kind of like quickly go through like just like quick basic, or do you want me
Yeah,
to kind of like
please, bro.
give
Yeah, just as
insight
you.
into like how I do things or what?
Yeah, please. Just you do it exactly how you'd like to show it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying, do you want me to kind of like, because I do things differently than most liquidity providers, all right? Like,
Yeah, do
but
it your way. Do it your
all
way.
right, whatever. I'll just kind of explain. So obviously, like you can use liquidity pools to take profits, to sell. Like I use 90. I would say like maybe not anymore. Probably like 75% of the time, I use liquidity pools to buy and sell tokens. Like period. So I don't have
All
to use
right.
Jupiter. I don't have to use Axiom, whatever. Like I'll just make a liquidity pool to buy. Um, and like whether that's you throw just Solana in the pool or just to sell, you would throw just a token in the pool. I only do single side pools. Like I don't do
Okay.
the whole dual sided pools. Um, I kind of try and time it right? Like if it's close to a top, then I want to make a sell side liquidity. If
Mm-hmm.
it's closer to a bottom, then I want to make a buy side liquidity pool. So that's what I do. But we'll kind of go through it there. So you want to go to meteora.aeg,
Mm-hmm.
home screen, create pool. Um, from here, you've got DLMM, dynamic, launch pools. Launch pools is actually like a meme pool. You don't need to worry about it. Dynamic is a normal full range pool, like similar to Radium and to the Radium pools that are made with, or that used to be made with Pump Fund or a pump swap pool. That's where you have to put an even amount of Solana, even amount of tokens
Mm-hmm.
in dollar value. And then DLMM is concentrated. And this is what I use pretty
Okay.
much every time. So with Fartcoin, we'll say. And now there's a lot of things you have to pay attention to. Like with Fartcoin, actually, we'll just show this. With newer coins, like you can kind of pick the pool that suits you best. But with like Fartcoin per se, um, you kind of have to like adjust yourself according to other pools. So this Orca pool came up, has a ton of liquidity. It's the main pool now. But I like Meteora better. There, back in the day, there was only a 0.2% fee pool. I had to make this 0.1% pool to compete with this pool because the zero point 0.2 wasn't getting volume because this is a 0.16% pool. So I made a 0.1 pool. Now it can compete. Uh, it typically still underperforms that pool, but that is something you have to pay attention to. So I'll go Fartcoin USDC. Actually, we're gonna make a new pool so you guys can see.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go USDC. So from there, you'll have to select your fee percent. Now this is gonna vary, like I said. With like a brand new coin with high volatility, if you can get a 5% pool in, if it's the first pool and it's super volatile, that's awesome because you'll get a fuckload of fees, right?
Yeah,
Um, the normal pools are 0.25. 1% is pretty good utility number that you can use on most things.
mm-hmm.
So with newer tokens, you're going to be in this like 1 to 5% range. But then as the market cap, as the coin becomes more established, you kind of have to adjust to the lower fee pools, right? Which you kind of have to pay attention to the other pools and see what's going on. And then many times for most people, just adding tokens to the biggest pool is usually going to be best. With someone who's a whale, a lot of times they can kind of like dictate which pool becomes the main pool.
Yeah,
Because if you add enough tokens to the pool, and it has more money in it than the other pools, then it becomes the main pool for the most part. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So with Fartcoin, it's pretty, you kind of have to abide by it, simply because of this. We'll do 0.15. See, this one already has a pool, as you can see. That's why I'm trying to figure it out. But let's try 75. See, that's already got that pool. 80. Actually, let's go to something else. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do a 0.1100. So 0.1100, that's the fee, the pool I'm doing here for Farcoin. Oh, never mind. It's already got one.
So is that telling you a pool like that already exists? You can't make it.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
can just use that pool.
Oh, got you. Okay, so it doesn't want duplicates with the same parameters to be made. Okay, gotcha.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay, no,
So
that makes sense.
the fee percent is obviously how much you get paid per dollar volume, right? So 0.15% of whatever volume.
I can see
That's
why
what,
you say 5% is fucking glorious if you can get in quick.
if you can get like a new token that like, these newer low cap tokens, they might move like 100% in like a minute or 20% a minute, in like a
Yeah.
second even. So like with those 5% pools, you can rake it in, dude. Like I've done, like I've said, I've done 50,000 in fees off of $50,000 in like an hour before, just with those kinds of pools. It's nuts. Like, when if you can land a good pool with a 5%, like holy shit. So then, you pick your fee. Bin step is basically the range. So 100 bin step is, and I know this by heart just 'cause I've done it so often. With a single side pool, 100 bin step is going to be like a 99% range. So basically 2x. Whatever the current price is, that range, if I started a pool right now, would go up to 270. So 0.15, 100 bin step. Now you can tighten your ranges, which I'll show you. But the bin step is essentially just how wide the pool is. But it's the space between each bin.
Would you, is it, I don't know if I'm way off the mark here, but is a smaller bin step number considered safer?
Not safer, but it's the lowest you can get the bin step, the best, I would say, in a general.
Yeah.
Like you want your pool to be as tight as possible because that's the way that most of your liquidity is going to be active, right? So you'll get the most money.
Gotcha.
But you also want your bin step to be wide enough that it's not going to go out of range, right?
Gotcha.
With
Okay.
Fartcoin is never going to go, like, not never, but it's not going to overnight double in price, right? So like this
Yes.
is a wide pool, probably not the best pool to use for Fartcoin in my opinion,
Yeah.
right? The pool that I use is a 7% range. With Fartcoin, it's a 10.1%, 10 bin step.
Gotcha.
Um, but just for example here, with these, you got your bin step fee, max fee, that has to do with dynamic fee. Dynamic fee is like a fee that it changes depending on the volatility of the coin. So
Mm-hmm.
like if price action is going crazy and it's passing through your bins, like from one bin to the other, it will up the fee a little bit and you'll get paid a little bit more in fees.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really have to worry about that though. It's just is what it is. So here you got your positions, add position, swap, add liquidity. Now, if you're just starting to use it, this will probably be checked. You got to uncheck that.
Okay.
To basically, because if you put this here, anything I put here, it's going to put an even amount of USDC, right? But I told you guys, I only do single side. So this is automatically giving me a dual side pool. I don't want that. Okay.
Why are you? Why single side? Bizzy?
Um,
Is that
I
because
just
you're just
like,
buying and selling the coin through liquidity pools?
well, I mean, buying and selling, but it's also like I don't like with these dual sided pools, right? You're doing dual sided. You're like basically betting on it being a range. I find it easier to bet on a direction, right?
Yeah, I
Like
see
I can
what
say
you're
like
saying.
there's a support level here. It's probably going to bounce.
Yeah.
So what do I want to do? Like I probably want to like start my pool maybe right there at the beginning of the range, right? And then as this goes up, it comes into your range, but it's also with tighter range pools with like the 10 bin step is only 7%. So if I did a dual side pool, it would only be 3.5% up, 3.5% down, which is really hard.
Gotcha.
These coins, even fart coin can move 3.5% in like a few minutes.
Yeah.
Um, at the right time. So like 7% gives you more margin of error. But I also, like I said, it's to me, it's just better in general.
Yeah.
But as you can see here, it's 96% range. Um, and then you got spot, which is even spread, like all your liquidity is spread evenly. And these are bins, right? These are 69 bins in a pool. And it's basically like each price has tokens, right? So the price here is 226. And I have 2.4 fart coin in that bin. And then it's 224. So you're selling tokens at 224, 226, 228, 231. These are all your bins, and that's how Meteora functions, right? The reason Meteora is different than other ones is because of this bin system, right? Where you can actually shape your liquidity. So I have spot, which is even spread, but then you can switch over to curve, where it's like most of your tokens are now at the current price, and then there's less tokens as you get higher in price. I don't use curve that often, but definitely has the usefulness to it. But bid ask, now it's to where
Yeah.
most of your tokens are weighted at the top of the pool, right? At the high end of your pool's price range. So it's like you're not going to be selling that many tokens early on when you start your pool. But as price gets higher, there's more tokens, right?
Do you use that one a lot, Bizzy? Bid ask?
Yeah, I do use that a good bit. Now, lately, I've been using a lot of spot, but I can also use a mixture, right? So I might use like let's see, I got like 500 fart coin, right? So like I might do like 400 fart coin as spot, and then 100 fart coin as bid ask, right?
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like you mix them in. But there are strategies where I use curve too, right? Like there are things like I like to do where I will find a heavy resistance area. And I don't want to sell my coins yet, but I do want to like try and generate some fees while, at these times, like, so I will like put a thick pool with curve, a curve structure at the resistance level or even a little bit above the resistance level in case of like, in case price action goes through the resistance but then pulls back under it. So I'll put like a heavy thick pool above the resistance with curve. So most of the tokens are at that price. And then when price pushes up through, I'm generating all these fees right here, but then it just comes back down out and falls, right?
I see what you're saying.
So then I'm getting basically like free fees, right? So like once price comes in, I've essentially sold tokens. If it comes to 168, I've sold all the tokens prior to 168. But then as price goes back down, I'm buying them back, but I get fees. So,
Yeah, gotcha.
so like all those fees is basically just free money, right? It's like once price goes back down underneath your range, all the fees that you generated is just, extra money, like, because you still have the same amount of tokens,
Gotcha.
plus you have the fees. So I do use that for that strategy, but
Cool. That's cool. I like that.
and this is a pain in the ass. I wish they would update it, but you can like you set your thing right. The current price right now is 134.
Mm-hmm.
So or yeah, 134. So I could set my pool to let's just say I want to do, I'll do this. Let's say I want to do 140, right? And I don't want my pool to start until 140. So it's going to take you to the nearest bin, which is 138.86. But that says 2% above the current price, basically. Oh, well, it's 137 now, but 2% above the current price up to this. And then there's 67 bins, right? Or 66 now. But a Meteor pool has 69 bins, right? So I can now up this a little bit to give myself the maximum number of bins. Oops. The maximum number of bins if I want to do that. So you kind of have to guess, right? Let's say 2.7.
You're trying to get it to 69 as close to as possible.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you don't have to, but let's say 2.75. So that got me to 70. It's going to have to be a little bit lower, like 271. All right, so now I have 69 bins. That's the maximum for this pool, right? And I could just make that pool. And now it's, my tokens will be waiting at 137 because price is currently 2% underneath. This is 2% above the current price. And now the other thing you can do is not use all 69, right? So you can tighten your range. So now I'm not using the whole pool. I've tightened it. Now these bins are like, there's much, all my tokens are in the much tighter range. Instead of it being 96%, I've only got my tokens in 18% or 28% range instead of 96. So like that's what I will do when I do that one strat I just mentioned. I'll like tighten it to like because I'm on a tighter fee pool, right? So the fee pool that I use usually is 7%. So I might tighten it to like 2%, or 3% or even 1.5%. So it could be like 10 bins or 5 bins, and all my tokens are now in this. So it's a much tighter range. You're going to generate way more fees in that range, but there's a less margin of error for you. So that's kind of what I'll do. But with a full range pool, you got that. And then let me see if I can. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to do a dual side pool just to show the kind of just show like what it looks like as price moves. Well, this is such a large pool. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go to a different pool.
I'll be a sec, Busy. I'm just going to get a water. I'll be 1 minute.
You're good.
You shoot. I'll be back now.
Oh, I forgot. Wait for me back. So, what the heck is going on? Okay. Oh, I don't have soul. Or let me see. Oh. I think price is going up anyway. The max spot, and I'm gonna tighten this a little bit. Or actually, no, I'll just leave it.
So what did you say, Busy? You're doing a two-sided?
No, I'm not going to do two-sided because I don't have USDC here currently, but I should be good, I would hope. So, get my positions, add position, and you might have to do this, right? You kind of have to be quick when you add your position at first because the price moves, right? So if I click this here, it's at a current price, right? But if I wait a minute, the price might move a good bit. So then you end up like getting arbed, right? So you have to, I'll just flick between this and this to, add it at the right price, and then like 500, boom, and then I'll just toss it in there. And then another random thing you have to pay attention to, if it's not a pool that's like active with liquidity in it, it's like an old pool, you need to make sure that it is in range, like the price is correct. Because if not, you'll get ARB. Like one time I deposited 100 SOL worth of tokens into a pool that was like no one had used in a month. And it was the pool was at a price that was like 50% lower. So like my 100 Sol worth
Mhm.
of tokens turned into 20 Sol instantly because I sold them at a cheaper price, right?
Fuck.
Um, but as you see, I just put 500 Farcoin, and that's all I put. But now I have 30 USDC and 477 Farcoin, and then my unclaimed fees, I have 0.019 USDC.
Okay.
Um,
And have you set this Busy? Have you set this at a price that it's hitting right now? Thus, the fees are happening right now.
yeah, like
Yeah.
this is that's the fees
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
in. Because as people buy Farcoin, right? Because I'm selling Farcoin essentially, right? I put only Farcoin in. So when people buy Farcoin, they're going to use USDC. So as they use their USDC to buy Farcoin, they're paying fees out of that USDC. So I get paid in USDC. Now, if price goes down from here, right? If they like sell Farcoin, then they would be selling their Farcoin. They would be taking you like just like that. Actually, like
Oh,
they
yeah. 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 True.
$10 got taken out of my pool, and I received whatever a penny worth of fees in Farcoin. But as they buy, I receive USDC. As they sell, I receive Farcoin for fees. And and you can open this, and you'll see this now has USDC in it. Well, it's going down again. So,
Uh,
but as price goes up, it'll replace um, these Fartcoin bins with USDC bins, right? Right now I've only got $5. So like this bin it shows like current price. I have 4.3 Fartcoin and then 4.19 USDC in that pool in that bin. Um, I want it to go up a little bit so you can see, and then you can kind of claim your fees as you go if you want. Right there.
okay. Yeah.
Um, but
Um,
and the other thing you
quick
can do.
question, Busy. The total that you put in, is it something that you should be keeping an eye on? Like, say you put $700 in, would you be checking current balance to make sure it's 700 and you're not losing money there? Somehow, can you lose money?
No, you
No.
can't. I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking about impermanent loss. That is not the same thing. It's like if I only put Fartcoin in, right? So if price goes up, I'm like selling. Like, look, it's out of range now because price went down, right? Below where I started it.
Yeah. So your bins aren't getting
So
touched
yeah,
by buyers and sellers. Yeah.
but like this value will go down now, right? If Fartcoin goes down in price, your Fartcoin will go down in value. That's
Yeah.
obvious.
Makes sense.
Um, However, like as price goes up, I'm selling Fartcoin for USDC. The value is going to go up, right? The value of the Fartcoin is going to go up, and your
Right.
balance technically will still go up, right? It will go
Yeah.
up like a little less because you're selling Fartcoin. But you're talking about impermanent loss, which is just all impermanent losses is essentially like it's like opportunity cost, right?
Mm, mm, mm.
But I don't look at it like that, just because if many times when I use a liquidity pool, I'm using it because I want to DCA some tokens, right? If I do a Jupiter DCA, right? I don't do a Jupiter DCA, and then when the Jupiter DCA is finished, I don't say, "Oh,
How much should I put in with what's
I
the
could have
value
just
now?
sold at the top instead of Jupiter DCAing."
Good point.
No, it's
I see.
like, you know what I mean. I understand I
Yeah.
DCA'd because that's the way you should be trading, but
Yeah. Good point.
that's so that's kind of how I look at it.
Mhm.
With the
So
dual sided pool,
this is how you'd buy and sell tokens, right? What you're doing right now. It's like, say you wanted
this is how
to.
you sell. Yeah, this is the
Yeah. Yeah.
selling part.
Sorry.
Now,
Yeah. Selling.
and now if I
Go, go,
wanted to
go,
add
go.
like a buying, like right, I might just I don't have any USDC, but I put 500, and now instead of it being like up, right, it's my this the beginning of my pool is 135.77, but it goes down to 126.
Gotcha. Yep.
So now I'm buying tokens down to $1.26. And as price goes down, like these will slowly turn into Fartcoin. And I love it. I love buying like this, right? Because like price doesn't go down in a straight line necessarily. So, as it's going down, like if you're DCing into a coin, you're always going down in dollar value, right? Like as price goes lower, your dollar value is going down. Now
Yeah.
with the liquidity pools when you buy, it's like price goes here, it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, all the way through, right? And you're getting fees this entire time. So depending how long it takes to go down, it can offset the
If you,
offset like it going down, right?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
if you just leave it in there, like the other day, I had $1 million USDC pool in Farcoin, and from like 140 down to like 130, and I actually ended up pulling the pool when price went back up to 140. I had still had $1 million of USDC, but I had like nine or $10,000 in fees. For nothing, right? Like, I mean, I still had all my USDC, and then I had an extra like $5,000 worth of Farcoin and $5,000 in USDC. Just from having that pool active for like 12 hours. But yes, it's the same thing here. And if I want, I can tighten this. So now my pool range is 135 to 129, or tighten it more. And then my bins are tightened up, or you can do bid ask even. So now I'll be buying most of my tokens we bought at the lower price point with the bid ask, right? So at the current price, which is 135.77, there's only like, let's see, I only have $1.38 in this bin. So I'm only gonna buy $1.38 at this price, and then $3, $4. Now there's 8, 9, 10, and it goes higher as I get lower in price. So like once it gets to like 129, I've got 21 USDC in this bin. So at 129, 80, I guess 1.298, I'll be buying $21 worth of USDC or Farcoin. But then up here, I'm only buying $1.38. So now, like, that's why I like Meteor a lot. You've got these different ways to do it. And then, you've got your dynamic fee as well. So it should be a little bit more, actually. Let's see. See, now it's going up again. $14. I want to go up a little bit. And you can add multiple positions, right? So I have this position right here, right? From 135 to 145. Now, let's just say it goes to like 140 or even 137, right? So $1.37. I could instead of like adding my full amount of tokens right here at 135, I can just create a new position at once it hits 137, or I can just create it. But I could put another 500 here starting at 137 to extend my range, right? Or we'll say let's do actually 140. So 140 to 150 probably. So oh, this is a pain in the ass, I will say, but you get used to it once you do it a little bit. All right, so now I've got 69 bins. Now this new pool is from 140 to 149, basically 150. And now if I don't have any tokens left, but if I made that pool, now I have my first pool 135 to 145. My second pool is 145 to 150. And then I could do another pool at whatever. I could, you can layer it as many times as you want to extend the range. With these like Fartcoin pools, which are much tighter range than like what you would do on a new coin, you kind of have to do that. Or at least I do. I like to do that. If I'm really focusing on fees, I'll just kind of extend it all the way up, and have, you know what I mean? Just have like a wider range, because Fartcoin can move 7% like quickly, despite it being like a high cap coin. But now you can see my pool has 50 USDC, 462 Fartcoin, and it started with 500 Fartcoin. I've got 8 cents in fees here, 4 cents here. And then these bins though, that used to have Fartcoin, now I have $10 worth of USDC, 1018, 1018, 1018, all the way up. So these are now USDC. And if you're like, like for me, a lot of times I'll leave the tokens in to generate fees, and then I'll pull it when I want to. But you can, if you're really trying to focus on like really taking aggressive profits, you go to withdraw, and then you switch this to just USDC, right? So now I can pull that $50 of USDC. I can pull that out of the pool right now.
So you don't buy Fartcoin back?
So you don't buy Farcoin back. Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're really, I like to try and generate fees usually a good bit before I start pulling, but or I can just even only pull out 50%. So it would only pull out $30 of USDC instead of the whole 60. So I'm taking a little bit of the profit. And then kind of like a pro tip is something that I'll do. Let's just say, let me show you first. What the fuck? I don't use computer often. So let's say price is like up here, right? Or like even up here towards the end of my pool. I will, instead of like pulling like 50% of my USDC, like which would be like all these bins, instead of pulling 50% of the entire thing, I will instead choose to only pull USDC from this part, right? Which is the higher price. So I've sold tokens at a higher price, but I'm willing to buy them back lower.
Gotcha.
So what I'll do is I'll go to withdraw, switch it to USDC, and then show bins to withdraw. And I know it's
Pick
not
the
high enough
ones.
to really see, but I'll select only the bins that are like at the higher end of the range. And then I might only want to take 50%, right? So now it's only going to remove 50% of the USDC from these bins that I've specified, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
But
Wow.
like you can see Fartcoin, we'll just say it'll be easier to visualize, right? So if I only want to pull Fartcoin, like let's just say I don't want to sell my Fartcoin this low, I guess, right? So I might pull these bins right here, and I could just pull 75% of that Fartcoin. So it's going to pull all this Fartcoin. So now I'm only selling a little bit here, but then as price gets higher, now I'm selling more of it. Typically I'll just do that for like pulling profits, but it's like I'm still like if price comes back down here, I'm willing to buy it again. But up here, I can just pull a chunk out, and now if price goes back down, I've sold at a higher price than my pool is at, right? You get what?
That's cool.
So that's a cool little trick that I
Yeah,
do.
that is good. I see why you do that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I got my fees. Yeah, so that's kind of that.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is a cool. And then there's actually, I don't know if you want to look at it if we have time. I
Yeah.
don't know what your time is like, but I've been playing with this thing and I like it a lot. DeFi Tuna, right? So
Okay.
DeFi Tuna is a leverage, and it really will help you understand liquidity pools and actually like, impermanent loss and stuff like that. So it'll really like educate you on like how they work, right? The curves and stuff. So this is a leveraged um, liquidity pool thing or like platform or protocol. So you can pick your leverage, right? So for like Solana USDC, and they've got big coins on here too. Like you got Fartcoin, Pengu, Mog, AI16Z, Boop, Bonk, and then Popcat. So there's some good pools in here. You even got the Wrap Bitcoin pool. So let's just say with like Sol USD, like if you want to sell your soul kind of like slowly, or you want to at least just you think it's going to range, you can just do this pool and you have 5x leverage, right? But depending how you do it, it's like your curve changes. Like you see this curve here, depending how you structure your leverage. So you can go, so your leverage is 5x, right? But let's say I only provide SOL, right? So I provide 50 SOL. Now I'm using my 50 SOL as collateral. And you'll see here it says SOL semi-long, right? Because I put 50 SOL in, it's leaning semi-long. Because it's leverage too. But I can now your borrow ratio because you're using leverage. What are you going to borrow? Are you borrowing Solana or are you borrowing USDC? So that affects if you're going long or short. As you can see, if I borrow USDC, it's going full long. If I borrow Solana, it's going full short. If I go 50-50, it's semi-long, but it's kind of like neutral would be right here. But as you can see, if you look up here at this chart, this is like your curve and it changes the way depending how you structure it. But like if it comes back here currently, I would be down 21 USDC, because once you start, you're going to start down, but as it generates fees, this number will change. But that curve, right, basically showing you here, this is like your highest profit point is the highest point in the curve. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
like right here. You can see 6 USDC, my loss right now. Um, so you need price to go down, up, whatever within this range to generate fees, and like that number will lower, right? Or it'll go up. I mean, so like that'll go to -5, -4, and up until you're in profit. But it's about time in here, right, in this range. So let's see. Now the pool is different, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like that curve right there, it's basically like you want things to like this curve. You want things to range and then end up here in the middle, right? So to come back to the current price, basically, or close. This is the current price, but like you want it to come like pretty close. This is where your highest profit point. Now, if I move this to USDC, now if price just goes up, then I make 290, and the curve kind of goes up, 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 and then it flattens. And
Mm-hmm.
as so like basically, I would make the same profit from here on. If price goes up, I make the same profit. But if it goes down, you start losing. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like how you structure it changes where it's optimal to pull profit. Now, with something like Bartcoin, we'll look at. So, if you think about it logically, it makes sense, right?
So, would you use this site, Bizzy, to graphically look at where the most profits are
You
when
can,
buying and selling?
you can, depending, and it shows you days too. So, like if 4 hours, 6 days, it'll show you like at the current rate, like what your
Mm-hmm.
profit would be if you stayed in. But Bartcoin, right? If I collateral 5,000 Fartcoin, three, and now like I borrow that SOL, that means I'm long, right? Basically, Fartcoin full long.
Mm-hmm.
Now you want to look. This is the P&L in SOL, right? So if price goes up, I'll make zero point 0.8 SOL up here. If I did it, or 0.59. Now I like to look at it in terms of Fartcoin, right? Because like
Mm-hmm.
that's the token. So basically, at here I'll make 8 Fartcoin. I like to look at it in terms of Fartcoin. If I because I like what I mainly use this platform for is like I'm usually fully allocated to Fartcoin, right? That's what I hold pretty much all Fartcoin. Now
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other money, right? I don't have SOL or USDC to buy more Fartcoin, but this allows me to use my Fartcoin as collateral to generate more Fartcoin.
Gotcha.
So I will provide my 5,000 3x leverage, and then basically I need price to once again bounce back and forth and then end here for me to get for me to have more Fartcoin. And right now, like if the price goes up, I'll end up with 7.5 more Fartcoin. But that number will go up a lot, right? I typically do like 50,000 or so, 50 to
Mm-hmm.
70,000. So like at this point, I'll generate 65 more Fartcoin. But price doesn't go in a straight line. It goes, back, forth. And then that number will keep going up as you generate more fees. And then you can actually auto compound your fees back into it. So right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I auto compound with leverage or reduce leverage, right? I usually add leverage because I'm a degenerate fuck, but you just auto compounding, keep leverage. So as like your fees come in, like you have $100 in fees, it's now going to add $300 in when it compounds, it's going to compound $300,
Mm-hmm.
not 100. Um, Now if you have a short, right? So I want to go short Fartcoin. So now as price goes down, I generate more, right? Like if price goes down from current price to here,
Mm-hmm.
and then I close it, I will have 1,175 more Fartcoin than I did before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, if price goes down, up, down, as it goes up, like I'll generate more. And I will say per position, which I typically try and close in a few hours max. Um, I can with 50,000 Fartcoin, which is what 75,000, $80,000.
Mm-hmm.
I can usually, and like sometimes it's better, but typically I can generate another, 1,500 to 5,000 Fartcoin.
Yeah. Right.
So, which is a lot, I mean, it's like $6,000, $7,000, anywhere between like, I mean, it's anywhere between $2,000 to $7,000 of
Yeah.
Farcoin. And like I said, I use it because it's the only place that I was only able to, utilize my Farcoin as collateral to basically generate more Farcoin.
Man.
Um,
So
but
you're basically you're using both. You're doing both things. You're providing liquidity and then coming here and basically trying to generate more Farcoin rather than buy Farcoin by using Sol.
because I
Or
don't have any Sol, right? I only have
yeah,
Farcoin. But
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the liquidity pool, right? This actually, the pool that this uses is the Orca pool for Farcoin, actually. So all the tokens that you do here, basically you're providing liquidity in this pool right here, which is actually the main pool right now. It's the most volume. Where is it? So let me see. Where's price range at? Like I said, I don't use computer. Where? So you have to. Oh, right here. So you have to select your range, right? So like what I typically do, like, because I just find it easier. I don't do shorts very often and stuff. So I usually go long. Like this is how I pretty much use it. I'll go
Mm-hmm.
100% full long, and then I will like pull this. This is down, right? This is the lower price end.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pull this to really tight, like point 0.1. I mean, like depending how bullish it is, right? Like it might be like I might do like 0.3 or 0.5%, whatever. You can even do a full range like with a couple percents if you want to be safer. But I try and like time it good towards like the bottom. So I'll do like as close as I can to the current price, and then I'll just up this one to wherever I think the price is gonna go. And now you see that curve up here is like long and like it's lengthening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the top of the curve, I'll make 1,500 1,500 Farcoin. That's not counting. Like I said, that number will go up the longer that price is in my range. And I'll do that. So they basically, I'm counting on price going up from here. This I only have a 0.12% down for my range before I'm out of range, and then you hope it goes back up into your range. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that, and then I'll just um, create the pool. So now as price goes up, I have more Farcoin. You can see that number. It's like 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. So that's how much more Farcoin I'll have as it goes up. Now, here's the thing. If it goes beyond this peak,
Mm-hmm.
then you start to lose Farcoin, like how much you would get. Now,
Yeah.
it's because like as the price goes up of Farcoin, like the way liquidity pools work, you're borrowing all this basically, your soul's not keeping up with the value of the Farcoin, and as price gets higher, it's more expensive to buy it back. So that's why you're
Yeah.
losing Farcoin. This is just the perfect point in the curve where you get the most Farcoin,
So would
back.
you
Now,
close your position after that peak?
yeah, I
Or
try and close here, but it
yeah,
doesn't necessarily mean I'll close it the first time because
yeah.
it could go up down here and then come back
Go back.
up and then go down again and come back up. And I'm generating more fees. So that number will continue to go up and
It's
up
kind of
instead
what
of
you
being,
want it to do, don't you? You want it to kind of bounce
yeah,
around in there. Yeah.
yeah, you want it to bounce around as much as possible in between these two purple lines, right? So as much as it can go in between the purple lines, you want because you're getting fees. Now, like, if it sits here for a while, this might move up to like 5,000, 3,000, 4,000 in P&L, right? Or yeah, Barcoin P&L. And then yeah, and then you get that Barcoin added to your balance.
Yeah, that's a good
So
little strat.
and it gives you an idea, just like I said, how it works. But then if I switch P&L to Sol, let's say like I'm trying to take profits on my Farcoin, but I want to maximize, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
I think price is still going to go up. I want to create a liquidity pool. Now I make this liquidity pool because I think Farcoin is going to top at this price, whatever price is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say this is $2, right? So this pool ends right here at $2, and I want to sell my Farcoin. And I'm really confident it's going to go to $2. So now instead of just holding my Farcoin and selling it here, I've created this pool, and when it gets to that point, I'm going to make an additional 31 Sol. So like this is the point it's at right now, right? 31 Sol. And
Mm-hmm.
it flattens, right? So here, no matter what, because I've sold all my fart coin in my pool. 31 is just going to stay the same, 31.75 after here, unless I'm generating more fees. But the curve flattens. But in fart coin, remember, so this is where I maximize my soul basically at the point of pool ending. Like this is where but it flattens. It doesn't come down. So to maximize fart coin, you have to sell, essentially like 65% of the way through your pool. To maximize soul, you need your pool to clear to the top of the range, basically. Um, as you can see, it's coming up there. And then once you're like in here, let's say you've been in here for a few hours, you can kind of like guess. It'll give you like a estimate. What would your fees be if you left it in here for 20 hours? So instead of it being 31, it's now 43. But it could change depending on volume or whatever. But let's say like a month, even like 20 days, 5 hours. I'll make 337 soul if price stays in my range for 20 days. So it's a really fucking cool tool.
Yeah, I've bookmarked it. I'll have to come and play around with this. I'm looking in the abstract chat. Everyone's like, I'm gonna have to rewatch this like 5 times. I'm like,
I know, it's a lot. I like
it's
I said,
good though, and that's why it's good. It's recorded, bro. That's what's so important here. I'm recording it so people can go back, because I'll do the same. Like I'll go back through, several times and do it, because I know what it's like with this. You just got to get your hands dirty.
Exactly, you do. I mean, like,
You can't be
you're not
afraid
gonna
too much. You just got to
you're
do
not
it.
gonna memorize it just from watching the
Nah,
video. Like,
nah.
this
For
is
everyone
a
watching,
whole
don't
different
freak
thing.
out,
DeFi
man.
Tuna is like leveraged liquidity. The thing I like about it though is it will really like once you start doing it, it will teach you like the real like nitty gritty about liquidity pools, about impermanent loss and stuff like that, right? Like with this pool, right? Like you're like technically your impermanent loss is like down here, right? Like you were like this is where you suffer this is the best, right? There's no impermanent loss. But as it comes down here, now you're suffering your impermanent loss, or if it goes down, whatever. Like that's where you suffer from it, or here, right? Like so I max my soul out at 33.99 in soul profit, right? But in reality, like I would have been better holding my fart coin, right? So if I switched and like closed my pool here, I get 2,000 extra or 1974 extra fart coin. Now every like price after this is impermanent loss.
Yeah,
because I would have been better off holding the fart coin. Because as you can see, I'm getting less fart coin now than I would have.
Yes.
So like any point after here now is impermanent loss because you should have just held fart coin. If you want to get into it, right? Like I don't worry myself about that kind of stuff because I use liquidity pools differently. But but that's what they mean by impermanent loss, right? Like after this top of this curve, like that's at the point where you could have held Farcoin and you would have done better in dollar value. So and then as it goes higher, your impermanent loss gets worse. And you can even zoom it out, right? So now you can see where like I'm still in profit technically by value in general. But as I'm still up in Farcoin actually here. But boom, this is where you're really actually suffering the impermanent loss. But this is where you maximize your profit at the top of the curve. Now with Sol, like I said, it just flattens out if you're denominating in Sol. Let me see. Yeah. But yeah, this is a cool tool. And like I said, main thing, it'll help you understand liquidity pools and how they work and the different curves, the profit curves and stuff like that.
And Bizzy was telling me offline, everyone, you're doing this on your phone, yeah? Like not
Yeah, I
right
do it.
now, but normally day to day, you're doing this stuff on your phone?
Everything on my phone, my friend.
Yeah, man.
I do everything from my phone.
I'm like, how are you doing this?
Yeah, I don't.
It's
I mean, in
amazing.
reality, man, a PC would be more convenient. You would think, but I just like don't pull my PC out. am just, I don't know. I guess it's just easier for me to whip my phone out and do it, right?
I get it as well, and you're comfy, right? So you can be anywhere you want. And once you get good on your phone, it is pretty advantageous because it is like obviously it's a bit of a hindrance if you have to be on a computer and say you're out and then you want I don't know why you do this, but you want to trade like some of us do, and then you're like, "Fuck, I don't have my tools." Whereas you can be sitting in a club doing this, which is fucking what the
Yeah,
fuck?
like that's actually what got me into Meteora in the first place. Like I used to use Radium
Yeah, yeah,
for this, but Radium is such a pain in the ass to do to create a pool that it became difficult because I used to have a job, right? Now I'm unemployed, but I used to have a job and I had to do it on the go, right? Or if I was driving to work, which I spent a lot of time in the car,
uh,
I would have to do it on the go, and it was impossible to do on my phone. So I kind of started using Meteora because it was much easier for me to create a pool while I was on the go, and that's kind of, and then I ended up liking it a lot more. But that's kind of the reason originally why I started using Meteora. Um, I probably DeFi Tuna, and I just started using this recently, but
yeah. I'd never heard of it, but that yeah, you're right. And I guess for DeFi tuner, like you said, it's a good way of training your brain visually to understand what's happening, even back at the liquidity pools and things like that. Um, but Matt, yeah, you are you're people are loving the information, man. Like this stuff. That's why I've been wanting to get you on here because this stuff's powerful. And I guess it's just another tool, right, where we can make money in the space in a different way. And for me, I think that's really cool because I want to be able to make money in 1,000 ways in the space, and this is
yeah.
just another avenue, and probably less crowded because it
Well,
takes
you can find
time.
you can find tools, right, for it to work for you, right? Like the reasons I use like liquidity pools, right? One, the first thing that got me into them really was like that mental stress of like
Yeah,
price goes up, you're up 100%, you doubled your money, but then price goes down and now you're down 20%, right? And you're like, fuck, like why didn't I sell? But then it goes back up later and like, or like
yeah,
it moves 1,000%, right? Like, or whatever. And then, you sold at 2x and now you're like left on the sidelines. For me, like, it's like that. I'm very impulsive, right? So I'm always like, I can wake up in the morning and be like, I'm selling everything. Fuck this. I'm done. I'm selling it all. I don't care.
yeah,
Like, now liquidity pools allowed me to like, put a portion of my bag in the liquidity pool and then it would ease that stress because I'm generating fees, right? So like I'd buy this new token, put 25% of my bag into a pool. And price goes up 2x and then down to where I'm down 20%. Instead of like me being like, fuck this coin, I'm selling everything. My brain is like, oh, it's okay because you generated all these fees. So you still benefited from that move up. And then it allows it, like, it just keeps my brain from wanting to nuke the rest of my bag just to say fuck it, right? Because just even though price went up and then back down, I still benefited from that move, no matter what, right? So that was the first benefit of liquidity pools for me. But then the second came when basically, had a lot more money. It becomes difficult to sell your bag without like losing, like either killing the coin or
hmm
losing a lot of money to slippage, right? So with most tokens, even like the lower caps, like if you sell a 5 SOL clip into like a 200K market cap coin, you might suffer like 3% slippage or 2%
hmm
slippage or whatever. That's I mean, that with that little amount of money, it's not that big of a deal. But like 2% slippage on $1 million bag is like $20,000, right? That's a lot of money. With
hmm
liquidity pools, you don't suffer slippage. There's 0%. As a matter of fact, there's essentially negative slippage because instead of like you know suffering slippage for selling, you're getting paid fees to sell,
yeah. That's
um,
amazing.
or getting paid fees to buy. And then it doesn't, negatively affect the chart, right? So like if I'm a whale and I start selling my coin, other people are going to start selling their coin too. So
hmm
that also kind of is like a hidden slippage in a way. Like, you're going to get less money for your coins because, other people are going to drop the price as you're selling. So liquidity pools allow you to exit those bags without one wrecking the chart, causing panic, but two, instead of having slippage, right? If I set my pool at, I can even do a single bin, right? Instead of like doing this big bin shit here, if I have a price that I want to sell my coins at, I could do, let's say I want to sell it at one, I want to sell my coins at like 140, I guess like 140.01. I can literally bring this down to like two bins.
Can you sell? Could you sell $1 million worth of tokens in one bin?
Yeah, like I could put $1 million here. It'd be a sell
Right.
wall. And now, like, if I were to just like, let's say, price hit this, and then I just nuked $1 million in Fartcoin, like I said, highly liquid, so it's different. But let's say with PopCat, if I were to
Mhm.
sell like 500 grand worth of PopCat at this price, it's gonna drop the price to 135. I'm gonna suffer like 3, 4, or 5% slippage.
Mm, mm.
Now for me, I make this single bin 140. Every token that I sell is getting sold at that price, and there's no slippage, right? There's no like none of that, and you don't pay a fee, right? So like even with Jupiter is a 0.1% fee to Jupiter, I think, and
Mm.
then you pay liquidity provider fee too. So you might pay another 0.1%, and then you got slippage, so now you're paying another 2%. So you might come out to 2.5%, 3%, 4%, whatever. With this, I don't pay Jupiter fees. I don't pay slippage. I don't pay liquidity provider fees. I'm getting paid fees to sell here.
Yeah,
So not only will I make, my whatever I sell my tokens for, but I'll also get fees.
that's amazing, dude. Is that one of the main reasons you went across to the liquidity pools? Was it to avoid slippage fees on selling big clips?
No, well, not yeah, I mean, not necessarily the slippage that we're it was more like murder, like because the slippage is one thing, right? But
Yeah.
like the thing is like with a large bag, like let's say you have 2% of the supply or even 1% as you get higher, but like a 2-3% bag at 20 million is a lot, bro. Like
Mm.
let's say with Titcoin, right? I had Titcoin. I had 7.5 million Titcoin,
Mm.
okay, which is 0.75% at 50 million. It took me 24 hours to sell all those coins, right? Like if I nuked it, it would have been like damn 10% slippage.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a pain
but
in the ass.
and then you kill the chart, and everyone's like, you know what I mean? What like you're gonna nuke the price, bro? Like beyond your
You lose money and it's stressful and you cop shit.
and
It's
you up shit
really
exactly. But
so it's like, yeah, I
with a
can.
liquidity pool, I'm able to I can exit that position rather easily as long as price is going up, right? If price
Mm-mm.
isn't going up, then yeah, you don't. But you can also chase price and whatever. But um, it was way easier to exit a large bag of tokens.
Makes
Like
makes
with my
sense.
goat bag, like when I got goat, I had like 7.5 million goat when it ran out the first time. And so I had like $4 or $5 million worth of tokens at one point. You can't just nuke that in one clip. Goat wasn't nearly as liquid as Farcoin is. So like, I could just make a 250, 300,000, 400, $500,000 liquidity pool and then just slow sell it, right?
Hey, Busy, I've got a question here. Someone's just asking, you mentioned that you've used 50K in a pool before. What is typically the range of your pools and what did he start with? I don't know what they mean, Razuka. I don't know what you mean by what did you start with. But I think the main part of the question is what is typically the range of your pools?
Yeah, so like dude, I've had millions of dollars in pools before. Like in single pools.
Mm,
But the the range that you use is going to vary depending on the basically essentially the market cap, but like how much you think it go up. Like for a brand new token, right? Let's say you want to provide a 100K market cap coin and you want to do a pool. You're not gonna do a 10 bin step because that's only 7%. And a 100K market cap coin will move 7% in 1 second. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I mean, it can double, triple, quadruple in like a minute. So this is not gonna do you any good, right? You're gonna instantly sell your tokens, and and you're going to sell them way too early unless you're really trying to like, I want to sell at this price. You
Gotcha.
wouldn't do that.
And you're
But
not going to earn any fees and things like that.
so let me see. You would do like, I mean, let's just say we'll go to Farcoin anyway. Oops, Farcoin. So what the hell? Okay, so base fee, whatever. We're just gonna like 1%. Now if you look here, there's bigger pools, right? Like 80 bin step is like 70% range. 100 bin step, 96%. 125 is like 150, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
200 is a 2x, and then 250 is 3x. And then 400 bin step is a 14x. Okay. So like
Mm-hmm.
if you have a coin that you're like confident in, right? It's really down to what you think it's gonna do. So like if you have a low cap 100K market cap and you're like, oh, this is definitely going to at least 1 million, then you might do a 400 bin step, right? Because that's a 14x from wherever you start the pool.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's the range. With like Fartcoin in particular, it's a $1.35 billion coin. So obviously that range is going to be much tighter.
Mm-hmm.
But the main pool that I have to use is a 7% range. So if I think that price could go like 10%, then I'll do what I was showing you guys where I layer my pools, right? So I start one pool that's from whatever price to 7% higher. But then I'll start another pool midway through that pool that goes from that midway point to 7%. So then I'm getting 10.5% range on that, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it varies on the strategy, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
And then sometimes I'm doing like those tight range pools that I was telling you about where it's at a high resistance area or even above the resistance area if I want to be safer. Um, where I'll do those in a 3% range just because I want to maximize like the efficiency of my liquidity, right? Like I'm hoping that like I can get a ton of volume through my liquidity in a tight range, right? So maximum efficiency.
That's
Um,
that's a great
but
answer.
basically, you want your range to be as tight as possible. So, like I said, with a 100K market cap coin, 1,400% might be not that much, right? Like that coin could go to 1.5 million easy, and then it could go to 3 million even after that. So, like you're way out of your range after that. But as long as you're okay with having DCA sold some coins before then. But in the end, like if you're really thinking about this just from like a real general point of view, like the goal is to provide the liquidity in the tightest possible range because that means your liquidity is being used most efficiently, right?
True.
You're going to get more volume through your liquidity the tighter the range is, and you'll generate more fees that way. So it kind of varies. And like, what I start with, I mean, I think you're like in general, I didn't like start necessarily like I said, I use this as a tool in my trading. So like I trade shit coins or whatever, and I will use these liquidity pools as a way to like just like a tool in my tool belt, right? It's a way to sell, a way to buy.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not just one use case.
yeah,
It's got several use cases, and depending on the use case, will dictate the range you use, everything. Actually, it'll
yeah,
change the way you
exactly.
play it.
And like some people use it as a way to like instead of like doing like me where I'm using it buy, on the higher points where I think price might turn around, I might use it to sell there, or I'll buy at the lower prices. Some people do liquidity providing as a strategy, like where they do double-sided pools, right? Like half soul, half coins, and then like they're just like like they're trying to generate fees in this range, and then they try to pull the pool at the optimal time, which kind of falls back to this, right? So like with this, you want the price to range here, and they want to pull the pool at this point, and now they basically have the same amount of tokens they had before, plus they have 2,000 extra Farcoin. So like that's what liquidity providing strategy would be, essentially, right? Let's see if I change my range here. So now I've got 3%, right? It'll make more sense as you do it, right? So I have 3% down, 3% up. but I'm also long Farcoin, meaning I'm borrowing more SOL. So this is where my pool starts right here, and then this is my range, purple, purple. So like
Mhm.
I like if my strategy is just to generate more fees, not suffer impermanent loss, it doesn't matter. If price goes down here, price goes up here. You just want it to stay in this range, because as it stays in, the more this green part where you're in profit, this is gonna get bigger, and the red's gonna disappear. So like your profitable level will get larger and larger. So like you'll still be in profit down here if your pool was active for a day or two, then like your profit range might be all the way down here even, to where like and then this number would be way bigger. But people use it as a strategy, right? Like just literally just trying to identify ranges and generate fees. Um, I don't do that too much, really. Um,
I was going to say busy. What I might do, because I'm just wary of time. That's some good info, dude. I'm sure everyone's got a shitload out of that. What I want to do, we'll wrap it up now. I was thinking what I might do is go away for the next sort of week, and I might play around with these liquidity pools. And then I thought maybe we could get you back on, and we'll do it live together sometime. And so we sort of play around with it for a week or two, and then I might get you back on and show you what I've done, and then get you to kind of just let the audience kind of probably have a bit of a laugh actually how it went. But I'll just sort of record how it went, what I did, and then just get you to kind of go through it with us and just have a look, and then maybe, because the thing is, I won't know what sort of pitfalls I'm going to come across until I get my hands dirty. So it's sort of like I've got to go and do it and then get you back, because there's going to be shit I'm not going to know what to ask until it goes
exactly.
wrong, unfortunately. Because I know what it's like with this stuff. You just got to get in there and kind of fuck around. Um, but I'm thinking I might do that. I'm going to go and do it because this stuff's cool, dude. This is so good.
And it's
Uh,
a tool, man. Like you'll find your own little strategies and shit to like how you can use it, um, and just how it benefits you. But yeah, it really is a really good tool, to just benefit your trading.
like it's kind
And
of just the next step, I think, in my personal trading where I want to take it. So that's why I want to get you on here, because it's quite a it's I guess from the outside it looks like a complex topic, but I'm going to guess once you kind of, it's like anything, man, it looks complex from the outside, and once you start doing it, it's probably a lot simpler than you realize,
exactly.
because there's
Yep.
so much on the screen to look at here. But once you actually know where you're clicking, dude, it's probably like buying it. It's like the first time you bought Bitcoin on an exchange, it was a big fucking deal, right? And then a DEX, you're like, oh my god, I'm putting in a contract address, and now it's
Mm-hmm.
nothing.
Like I remember like when I first started using decentralized wallets, like I'd be so nervous about like copy pasting like the
Same,
address. Now
same,
it's like I would like check it like 80 times. Now I'm just like
same.
bing bing bing, like send fucking 500 grand here, like I don't even think twice about it. Like back then though, it was like sending
Panic
$20.
attacks, eh? Having panic attacks. I remember it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, contract addresses, or yeah, sending money around to even yourself, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like you, I'd check like 10 times, bro. Or I'd send $1, first, and then maybe I'll send five if I'm hyper paranoid.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Now I'm a bit more blasé, but busy. Look, thank you for giving us fucking such a thorough breakdown on how to do this, dude. This is cool shit. So I'm sure everyone got something out of that. I'm going to go and watch this 18 times. And then, like I said, what I'm going to do, bro, I'm going to go and give this a crack myself. And then if you would jump back on with me, brother, and we'll fuck around, do this together.
Anytime, bro. You know, I'm unemployed, bro. I can do this whenever. And
Fuck yeah.
I don't mind just chilling with you anytime, dude. Like I'm sorry about being late too, by the way,
Nah,
because
dude, you're all good. You're all
I
good.
completely my brain said Thursday, like funny enough, but like I said, dude, I'm unemployed. So I mean shit. You hit me up whenever, man, even if it's short notice, if I'm
Yeah,
available,
bro.
definitely down, you know?
Thank you. All right. Well, look, guys, go back and it is on my YouTube. If you go to Craze Coin Purse, it is there. This whole stream will be there, saved forever. So I know probably most of you, I'm going to have to go back and watch it. So it is there. So jump on there. Obviously, give Bizzy a follow, although he is quite quiet on the timeline. So, but give him a follow. He's a good follow, and when he does talk, you should listen. He's been around a long time, brother. Thank you for jumping on. Pleasure to have you. And we'll get you on in the next couple of weeks, and you can watch how badly I fucked up trying it myself.
Hey, all right, bro. Take it easy, man. Appreciate you having me, and peace.